Hi class! I am just coming to you on a Monday. It's our third Monday apart and I am just missing you guys. We have quite a few Zoom calls coming this week, so hopefully I'll get to see you. There's some tomorrow for help, and then we're actually going to do a live lab on Thursday. Hopefully I can make it work. So it'll be super fun to have you guys all there. To do the lab together would be exciting, and to have you guys ask questions and get to be a part of it a little bit, I think would be really fun. So I'm hoping that that will work great. But I'm coming to you today to talk about our last part of chapter 1. So we've been working through Amplify chapter 1 and really just kind of starting to talk about atoms and molecules and what does that mean in the science world. And so I wanted to break it down a little bit for you in this video to help you if you're confused at all. And then the last thing we're working on, 1.6, we're trying to answer some claim questions. So you get to write me a little essay again, or just a short little writing. And so I wanted to walk through that with you to help you out. So we are referring back to these substances. So if you don't remember, one of our last days of school, we looked at this fertilizer substance, and we looked at this pipe substance, and then we looked at this reddish brown substance, and you guys got to just look at these vials and sort of try to make descriptive statements about the substance inside. And so this was the reddish brown substance, and in our story, this was what was coming out of the pipe of the water at the people's houses. And so we're trying to figure out, what is this substance? What's it made out of? Why is it in their pipes? Why is it in their water? Obviously, we are not happy if there is some reddish brown something coming out of our water pipes into our houses. So this is the reddish brown substance that we're trying to figure out what it is. We know in this fictitious town, they have a well, and then the well pumps water through pipes to their house. And so in their well, they found fertilizer. So this is actual fertilizer. So in the well, they found fertilizer, and hopefully you can kind of see it in this test tube. So they found this fertilizer. This, obviously, if it were mixed into water, it's going to dissolve. But then when you let the water evaporate out, this is the fertilizer you're left with. And then this is the actual pipe. So they took the pipe, they broke it down. This is what the pipe's made out of. And I don't know if you can hear that. This is the pipe substance, and what this looks like. And so you guys are going to be writing me an essay that addresses these three claims. So your three possible choices are, I gotta read them off my sheet. Ugh. Claim 1, the reddish brown substance, this stuff, is the same as the substance that makes up the pipe. So that's your first possible choice, claim 1. Claim 2, the reddish brown substance, is the same substance that makes up the fertilizer. Or claim 3, this reddish brown substance is not the same as either the fertilizer or the pipe. So we're not trying, in this, you're just going to choose which one of these three claims you think is correct. So do we think that this substance is the same as the fertilizer? Do we think it's the same as the pipe? Or do we think it's not the same as either one? And that's what you're writing your essay about. And so I'll go into more detail and linked on Google Classroom as part of this whole assignment. I'll go into depth about what you need to share with me. But I wanted to share two things as I've been looking at your responses to sort of help you along the way. So we've talked a lot about molecules, and Amplify defines a molecule, or they talk about these things called repeating groups of atoms. And so I want to talk about what is an atom and then what are molecules. So I don't know if this looks familiar to any of you. This is a periodic table. And this is called Periodic Table Elements. This one I got from Montana Tech, but they all are almost identically the same. You can Google them. Oh, that was really close, sorry. You can Google them. They're all over the place. And this is all of the elements that we know of on Earth, in the universe, everywhere. And an atom, right, like this one's hydrogen. An atom of hydrogen is always, always, always the same. It has the same number of protons and neutrons that make up the nucleus, and then approximately the same number of electrons. And the nucleus of a hydrogen atom, even if you have trillions of hydrogen atoms, the nucleus of every hydrogen atom is always exactly the same. Well, there's a little caveat to that, but don't worry about it. The nucleus of every carbon atom is always the same. The nucleus of every chlorine atom, the nucleus of every iron atom, the nucleus of every type of atom is always the same, and it doesn't change, and that's what helps us define what an atom is. And then in the nucleus we have protons and we have neutrons. Protons are positively charged, neutrons are neutrally charged, and we know attracted to positive things or negative things. So around our nucleus we have electrons going, and electrons are negatively charged and they're attracted to the positively charged protons. That is an atom. You guys looked at that scale tool. Atoms are, besides the parts that make up an atom, right, like protons, neutrons, and electrons, are obviously smaller than an atom, but atoms on their own are one of the smallest things that we know of. They basically are the same, and we can define them really well, right? A periodic table tells us about every different type of atom. Then we have molecules. And molecules, or how Amplify calls them, repeating groups of atoms, are bonded together atoms that are bonded together really specifically. So we've talked a lot about water, right? Water is a molecule, and it's made of two hydrogen atoms bonded to an oxygen atom. And so then we know that we have water, and water is always the same. A molecule of water is always two hydrogens and an oxygen, and those are always bonded together the same way, and then that's one water molecule. Things can be bonded differently, so as we'll talk about them, I don't think we get a ton into how things are bonded, but what they do is they share electrons. So the oxygen atom in water shares electrons with the hydrogen and then with the other hydrogen, and so they're sharing electrons, and that's what keeps them stuck together. Let's see. So we know that molecules can change, and that's what we're talking about in chemical reactions. Chemical reactions are when molecules change. So something has to happen to make them change. They don't just like spontaneously change on their own, but molecules can change. Atoms never, ever, ever change. So as we're talking through this whole unit, I hope that makes sense. I also linked two different YouTube videos that talk a lot about what are atoms and what are molecules. They're great. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you watch them over the next few days. Plus, they're more fun than listening to me. But yeah, so going back to your assignment, 1.6, the first thing we're doing is we're trying to figure out, okay, well, our pipe substance, our fertilizer substance, and our reddish-brown substance, they're going to be made up of molecules, right, and atoms. And so we're trying to figure out, well, are they the same? Are they different? Do they have different repeating groups of atoms or not? Are they all the same? You'll notice as you go through this unit, or 1.6, that it shows you some different pictures of repeating groups or of molecules, right? So look at those pictures and study them really well, and you'll notice that all molecules are made up of atoms, and they're made up of different atoms depending on what we're looking at. So hopefully this video helped you a little bit. I wish I could be there to like instruct you, but I can't. So Hopefully this helps. Watch the videos on YouTube. They're really great. And then we're going to work through 1.6 over the next 2 days so that you can get on to those Zoom calls and get help if you need. So I'm available for your help if you want to log on to the Zoom calls and get help as you're working on your writings. Yeah, I think that's it. I miss you guys a ton. I wish that we could be together in class, but for now, I just really, really, really encourage you and hope that you're staying home, that you're staying healthy, that you're washing your hands, that you're doing things to protect yourself and protect those around you. We want to get back to normal life as fast as we can, and so part of that is just doing our jobs of staying home and staying well and not passing along this virus. So I miss you guys, and I hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.